Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode 157. Joined with Nick, Gwen, Connor Carson's on the call. How we doing?
Yes, sir.
Chilling, man.
Big chilling.
Divisional round in the books. We're on to Championship Sunday. Going to be breaking down the results from this divisional round. I was talking about some new coaching hirings and kind of some firings as well. Stuff that we didn't really get to in last week of all the coaching news and everything else because we were deep diving into the wild card round. But we can start out on Saturday, Texans-Chiefs. A lot of drama coming out of this game due to calls and that weren't made, that should have been made, that people, it's a big narrative thing. There's a lot of stuff that I've been hearing on if it was a good call, bad call, stuff like that. But this is kind of just the result I was expecting. Chiefs kind of winning in a close-ish kind of fashion. I mean, Fairbairn missing 2 field goals. All the no calls kind of hoeing the Texans at some points in the game where it could have been pivotal, but what are your guys' thoughts?
We are not shocked. Like, this is what was going to happen. Like, the Texans put up a fight for about 3 quarters, maybe, and then, like, the 4th quarter hit, and the Chiefs had to lead, and you were like, okay, it's over. Like, it's over. It's just very hard to stop that Chiefs offense, like, when they get going. And, like, the Texans were just doing everything wrong. And everything was going, like, the opposite way, like the calls and stuff, like you said. So, I mean, you're just playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. You can't really be like, oh, no. But it's just tough. Tough for them.
All those players and coaches who said stuff about the refs, they could care less about getting fined. I think they just want to get that. And I feel like the announcers on the call, Aikman was really
amped up.
He was amped up about some of the calls because it's impossible to play defense in the NFL now. Like, I just think nowadays where now you got like the hip drop rules that have been affected this year, which was a thing in this game where Dalton Schultz got hip dropped and then they didn't call it. But like they also have been super inconsistent on calling that in general anyways this year. And then like
which I wasn't like, I knew that was going to happen. Like you can make that rule, but like what really classifies as a hip drop tackle? Like
there's so many like proponents to it.
Yeah, like I feel like refs maybe are scared to throw flags at that, like especially at that time in the game. It could be like a game-changing call if you're trying to make a hip drop tackle. That's why I think the whole rule was dumb anyway. But
it's so situation based.
Yeah.
And then there's just a couple of them, like you could say the helmet to helmet on Will Anderson that started this all off at the start of the game was. I just feel like I see quarterbacks get murked, like way worse than that, and they don't get that call. I just feel like I see quarterbacks get absolutely handed their ass, like even throughout like this weekend, and they don't get that call.
I think anybody gets that call.
You think?
I don't think that one is a crazy one at all. I think literally any quarterback in the league gets that call, just because it's helmet. That is helmet to helmet.
Connor, does Caleb Williams get that call?
No.
No? Well, maybe not then.
If Justin Fields never got that call, Caleb Williams ain't getting it.
I don't know. That one just looked pretty simple. Helmet to helmet.
I just feel like because of the only reason I'm kind of on the same side as you, the only reason why I'm slightly okay with it, but slightly not, is like the timing is everything for these calls. And Mahomes, like legit, the ball leaving his hands and the hit almost happened like at the same exact time. So I'm like, if he had the ball, what are you going to say? Like,
right.
Yeah.
But like just because he didn't have the ball, all of a sudden that split second makes it the call it is. And I just feel like I've seen like cases where they get hit in the helmet harder, I guess I could say, rather than that play itself. But I can see that's one of the only calls I can see both ways.
The sliding one was rough.
Yes, the sliding one is what got me mad.
That defender basically missed him. He missed him, and then they called it, and yeah, it's just so rough nowadays.
And like the stopping on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I hate it.
He literally flopped on the sideline.
Yes.
Like I can't be.
He slows down for people to hit him.
A lot of people do that. A lot of quarterbacks do that.
But it's only magnified because it's Mahomes. But a lot of people do that.
It pisses you off because it's Mahomes. That's really what it is.
Was it the? No, it was the Tampa game where Jane Daniels legit got lit the fuck up out of bounds and they didn't call it.
Yeah.
I was because when he flopped, I was sitting there. I was like, "No way, they're gonna fucking rip this flag out right now."
The thing with that one was he was in bounds when he started the hit, but he just like kept pulling him down like 2 seconds out of bounds.
And I think refs are like really bad at calling that. Like when knowing the player is like still inbounds when they get pushed.
Right.
And then they fall all the way to like the benches or
Yeah,
something.
they fall all the way by the bench and everybody freaking out. Like, especially if you fall on like your own sideline,
Mm-hmm.
then then everyone's freaking out.
The sliding one, I think, is something that definitely needs to be addressed because I feel like that's more dangerous than people think. Like, because he could have, when you're looking at the angle, he could have just ran out of bounds, but he decided to like go back in bounds and then like basically bait them into like trying to light him up.
Mm-hmm.
And they both miss and they get the call, but they hit each other more than they hit him. So I'm like, if they're just able to just be a free runner and then 1/2 second later they're just going down, like, what do you expect the defense to do? Mahomes might as well be playing with fucking flags out there, like, because if he's gonna be playing like that, then it's just like, oh well, shit. Like if they go and play the Bills, like I can already see it now where he's just like basically a little bit out of the pocket moving around, and then he's just gonna slide down when he knows he's about to get lit the fuck up and he's gonna get the call. Like I've never seen a sport more hindering to the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like like everything can be called a flag now. And there's the line between flags and no flags is just like so slim now when you're watching a game. So where it's just like, and it's always tough because it would always be the Chiefs, but it happens to other teams in the NFL as well. Not trying to magnify the Chiefs here because it does happen.
Only because it's the Chiefs. It gets it'd be magnified.
But the sliding one, that's something they need to address because there's no legit. You might as well play with flags if he's going to be able to do something like that, and you're just going to get a flag on the defense because he drops down in 1/2 second later. Like the defender's running full speed. Like, what do you want them to do?
Just stop. You can't just stop.
You can't just stop. Like, you're going to tackle a person. I can't just stop. Like, if I'm running as fast as I can, like, I can't just stop and
just fully stop on a dime.
Yeah, I can't just stop what I'm doing. Like,
he slid down like they're playing 2-hand touch or something.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Obviously, even without the calls, the Chiefs are going to win this game. I'm not saying that the calls to hinder the Texans winning because special teams was shit as well for the Texans, which hurt. But I'm going to say this is still a successful year for the Texans. For all the injuries they did battle through to get to the divisional.
It's like the ugliest successful year you can have.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's a very, like, they look so bad, like, at times this season. Like, I don't even know if I call it a successful year because the only reason you're in the playoffs is because you're in the fucking AFC South.
Right.
Like, with the Jags, who are poverty, and the Colts.
They went into this year, like, expecting to be, like, title contenders.
Yes. Like, the
people that were also supposed to push you to that realm all got hurt at some point.
You were in there with the Titans, Jags, and Colts. Two bottom 5 teams in the league, and the Colts don't have a starting quarterback for half the season. So, and you're telling me you're only how many wins? I don't know how many wins they had.
The 10
wins.
7.
But like, it should have been so much more. You should have done so much better.
I think the Diggs injury really did hurt them because when you're looking at the course of the season, like they had a wide receiver room where you would think on paper, it was like, okay, one of our guys goes down for a extended period of time. We still have Diggs that can be the 2 or the 1 on some given game. Then you lose him. Then you lose Tank Dell to basically end the season. And then you lost Nico Collins for like that entire middle portion of the season as well. So, and then you're
it's
like,
that O-line is just so bad.
They need to address that.
I can't even blame it. You can't blame it all on the O-line. Like, CJ Stroud did not look good this year. He really did have like a sophomore slump. Like, it did not bode well. I
think it was about 60% sophomore slump, but 40% of it was like, I think he was just so fed up with just getting lit the fuck up every single time he dropped back damn near to where like they kind of had to change their entire philosophy of how they played because last year they were throwing the ball downfield. Yeah, like they were always throwing the ball downfield. Now it's just they really turned into like the Packers in a way, how the Packers use Josh Jacobs. We're just going to feed Joe Mixon, play situational football, especially with our receiver rooms like depleted basically. Like we're going to have to kind of change the way we play. And I feel like that kind of happened because of the O-line play. Because if they would have just kept playing how they were kind of the start of the year, he would have not have finished the season. Because he was getting killed back there. You're talking about a bottom 3-4 O-line unit in the league.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. But that defense special. That defense, they have something working with that defense.
Defense is good.
So, yeah.
D'Amico Ryan's gonna get you a good defense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Trust.
And then for the Chiefs side, I don't really have anything for the Chiefs side. This is kind of just
Whatever.
I expected them to win this game
Yeah,
exactly how they did.
I think everybody expected them to win like that.
Mm-hmm. So we can kind of
now their season starts this week.
Yeah, now their game start the bigger game starts this week for them. So we can kind of jump into that Saturday night game. Lions Commanders.
I mean, damn. Like what a collapse.
Before we hop into this, we are all good friends with Jay Nor. We saw Jay Nor on New Year's, and I remember him at the bars talking about the Commanders. And I remember in the summer, he was in my backyard before the fair. He was saying the Commanders were going to be a 10-win team, and they were going to make the playoffs. Well, behold, they're in the championship game. They were fighting for the division pretty much all year until the Eagles turned up. And he's been right about everything so far. And if they get to the Super Bowl, if they can beat the Eagles, this will be the most impressive run to a Super Bowl we've probably ever seen.
It'll be the first time ever a rookie has been in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they're killing it. Yeah, you're right. I can't argue with that.
They're doing very well. Like you can't even that defense looks pretty good. I mean, that they were able to hold the Lions in bay as much as you can. That and the offense just looks even better. I mean, I don't think they punted. I don't think the Commanders punted that whole game. I'm pretty sure they either turned it over because they did turn it over one time on downs, and then or they scored every possession, like field goal or touchdown. So, which is, I'm not gonna say it's it's super impressive considering the Lions are missing 27 guys on defense. But yeah, it was definitely a interesting game to watch. To just watch Jaden Daniels go downfield and just score every position and watch Jared Goff basically piss down his leg.
Yeah.
And look that bad. I don't know. It was just very, very odd. You could tell they definitely missed Monty.
Well, he was playing still. At times, he was still. Yeah, he's still playing.
Was he 100% though?
No.
I'm talking 100% Monty. See, the Rock double-digit times.
See, I'm not gonna use that as they were missing Monty when you legit had Jahmyr Gibbs averaging damn near 10 a carry.
I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying
I get, yeah.
Just saying in general, missing someone like him or not having him at 100% is kind of rough.
My whole thing, because I said last week when we were kind of breaking down some of these games, I was like, I know the Lions are the 1 seed. I didn't think the Lions would lose this game, but I was like, the Commanders are just on that kind of run, man. With how their season has unfolded, they're just that team that's on that kind of run. Mm-hmm. And when I was sitting there looking at the game, I was just like, I can talk about a bunch of different things that I had a problem with throughout the game for the Lions. It just came down to Jared Goff and the turnovers and the giveaways. You cannot give away the ball in the playoffs. Every team that has given the ball away in the playoffs is sitting on the couch. The Vikings gave the ball away on the fumble and a pick. They're at home. What happened to the fucking Ravens? Multiple turnovers. They're at home on the couch. Like the Chargers, multiple turnovers on the couch. You cannot afford to turn the ball over against high caliber competition like this in the playoffs. And that's what happened, especially with some of the picks. The one to Tim Patrick was terrible. And then the fumble at the start of the game, which basically changed the outlook of the game because the Lions were about to go down, score, and make it 14-3. And that happens. And then you're like, for one, we're going to talk about Ben Johnson. Your season on the line, and we run a trick play to J-Mo, who just seemed like he wanted to throw the ball. There was no motion of him throwing the ball out of bounds.
I get running the play. Whatever. You need a spark. Why the fuck did J-Mo... Why did he throw it? We can't be that stupid. I've seen so there's a clip of Travis Kelce, and he says that he has that same play, and he's going through the mind of someone who's not a quarterback. When you get the ball in your hand and you can throw it, you're just going to throw it. They don't care in the moment. They want to get a completion. And at that point, it screwed them. The DB made a good play, and he picked it. And
I just didn't like anything about that play. So
neither did I. It's
you
just
have your more hot-headed receiver in J-Mo throwing the ball. And then you're throwing it to your running back, Gibbs, who is a good receiving back, but you're throwing it to him on a fade. And why didn't you just have like a Monra? Maybe he would have been able to bat that ball down so the DB didn't pick it at all. But like it was just a terrible play and a terrible ball for the situation.
Yeah.
I'm like, you might as well just have Goff throw. Like, why didn't you just have Goff throw it? Like your quarterback throw the ball. Like that's my point.
Quarterback throw the ball. Holy shit.
Like, yeah, you needed a jolt to go downfield and score, but I'm like, you could have just like gave it to Jahmyr Gibbs on a outside zone and he would have went and picked up 10, 12 yards. Like, I just don't understand the play calling in that situation, in that moment.
Yeah.
Hey, man, at that point, he knew he was going to the Bears. He was like, fuck this, I'm leaving.
Oh,
who cares?
Yeah.
Can I touch on that? Because I came in knowing that we were going to talk about this exact situation. Coordinators should never, if I'm an organization, you are not doing interviews if we're on the middle of a playoff run. Ever. Yeah, I don't care.
I wouldn't want to do it either. I think that is weird. To like, hey, I'm worried about next season, but like I'm in the playoffs like right now.
Yeah.
Like,
especially when you have two of your coordinators getting head coaching jobs.
Yeah, it really checks you out because then you really are worried about next year. After that interview, like
exactly. That's why I feel like
I agree.
I just like, even if you have the bye,
mm-hmm.
I don't care because you're still with this team. I don't want you doing interviews like when we're in the midst of a playoff.
Lion.
Yes.
Like, why are you interviewing for the Bears while we're in the midst of a playoff run? Like, yeah, I agree.
Because I remember Flores, who looks like he's staying with the Vikings now. I remember the week before he did like 1 or 2 interviews, I want to say, and then he didn't know obviously if he was going to get it yet at this point. But then we go into the wild card game against the Rams, and that first drive, our defense comes out flat the entire first half. And then I'm just like, looking at the Lions situation, I'm like, now you had multiple days throughout the bye where both your coordinators were not checked in and locked in on your building. They're locked in for themselves and for their paycheck and for their next future job. Like, I just think that provides like a rift in the locker room almost, because if you're Ben Johnson, you already knew you were out the door at some point this year.
He knew.
And then you already knew going into this game. So you have your OC and DC knowing that they're not going to – this could be like their last game coaching for the Lions.
I think we had Ben Johnson signed like 2 weeks ago. Like we were just waiting to like announce it, basically. Like
I just think it's crazy. I think it's crazy for an organization to let them do it. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to push that back. I don't know. Like, it's so weird because obviously all these teams are just trying to hire right away.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you don't need to. Y'all are out.
But then also,
it's the offseason.
Flip it on the other side. Why are teams letting them do it?
Right.
Like
I don't know.
We were trying to interview Mike McCarthy. The company said no.
Yeah.
Why are owners not doing that?
It's
like, why did the Lions just not say no?
Exactly.
Why did the Lions owner go, hey, you know what? Actually,
fuck it.
I don't want either one of them doing it right now because I want them locked in.
It's Bill Belichick said something about it because it's been like more of an emphasis this postseason. He says it's just such a big distraction.
It is.
To where like you gotta think this is your OC and DC, like, and you're looking at somebody like Dan Campbell who's not great with the X's and O's from this point of view of a fan's perspective. He's more of the culture builder, the motivator, and shit like that. So where it's like, it just seemed like some of the play calling through that Lions game, especially that trick play, is just like you're just like, you ain't done nothing all season, and you draw it up now. It's just so. I just feel like the checked out moment was there, especially when they got down 10 like later in that game. It was just like, oh. Now Jane Daniels just really just has it going, and it's just you're not going to be able to get a stop.
Yeah.
But to go in there, Ford Field, one of the hardest places to play, put up 45 on the 1 seed as a rookie quarterback who looked completely unfazed. They brought the blitz every single time almost. Oh, I'm just going to throw towards the blitz, and I'm just going to pick up this first down to Terry McLaurin. Oh, I'm just going to use my legs, extend the play, get the first down. I'm just going to do this, do that, do everything you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
To get the first down. And everybody on that Commanders team's game right now is like up here at the moment.
Oh yeah, because you're playing like momentum. Like like people say momentum in sports like isn't a thing, but it's like it is. Mm-hmm. It's way a thing. Like if you're playing at that high of a level, like you're gonna keep it up. Like you have it's just you have to have luck, and they have the most luck, and they're playing with everything. They're playing with house money. They don't care how fucking far they go, and when they lose, because either way they're looked at as a threat now for the future. So you can really do whatever you want. Like Dan Quinn has done like a great job with this fucking team, and Cliff Kingsbury with the resurgence of his career, basically after going to Arizona and stinking it up, and then taking a demotion, going to an OC job, with a rookie quarterback and doing this, like it's amazing. It's awesome to see.
And because we'll talk about the Commanders, and just talking when we talk about the Eagles and the Commanders game, but like from the Lions perspective, I've been hearing a lot of, is the window closed or not?
If you're the Lions, you got at least two more years of probably prime Goff, of Goff looking normal, and then you're probably done with him. Then you got to move on, and like their window definitely closed as a 1 seed and a bottom.
I think the past 2 years, when you look at the situation, up 17 at San Fran, championship game, you blow that, you're like, okay, whatever, first time being here type vibe. Then you're the 1 seed, you win 15 games, and then you just go get bounced. You just go get absolutely bounced at home. Like
in the first game.
From this point of view, these 2 years are their best years.
Yeah, but I don't think that means their window's closed.
I don't think their window's closed, but their best chance was these past 2 years.
Definitely their best chances were these, especially this year. Like, this was your best chance with, like, the Vikings going out, then the Packers went out, and you're like, okay, now we need to sit here and beat a rookie quarterback, and you couldn't. And that was the deciding factor. Like, you guys would have played the Eagles, and that would have been a really good game, but now you're sitting at home. And
with how this game went against
go back next year. Like,
yeah. I think if the Lions were to advance, if they found a way to win this game against the Commanders, and how this game unfolded, if they found a way to win, I wouldn't have gave them that greatest of shot against an Eagles team.
I have the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so I'm going to be Eagles bias, because I would have had the Eagles going into Ford Field and beating them anyway, even if they did beat the Commanders.
I just think I think the Commanders were such an interesting matchup because you have Jane Daniels that can create with his legs as well against a defense that's already having a bunch of hurt players. So we're like, if he, like, it comes down to the point where, like, when I was watching Sam Darnold play this team in the week 18, I was like, if he just settled down, there's open people. If he just settled down and had a calmness to him like Jane Daniels did, there's people open all over the field. It's just Sam Darnold was so rattled by the pressure to where, like, he couldn't see what Jane Daniels was seeing. Obviously, way too different players because you have that threat of the legs. But I'm just saying, like, when they did get picked apart, it was on late third downs, on fourth down, when Jane Daniels was able to extend the play or just find an open guy through the blitz. Like, I just think they got absolutely worked from a play calling perspective. Mm-hmm. That Commanders offense killed Aaron Glen in that defense.
Yeah,
they had no answers.
Too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
Well, you just got production from everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, you get production from Eckler, you got production from Ertz. Like, McLaurin's gonna do his thing. Like, everybody collectively did their jobs, and like that's what happens. Like, the O-line looked great, like, and they just took them down. They took down the lines.
They understood that they were not going to win this game off field goals.
Like, yeah, they had to score touchdowns.
They had to score touchdowns to win. I feel like in the playoffs, I see too much of settling for field goals when you have to be the uber aggressive team, especially on the road. Because if you can complete some fourth downs and get in the end zone early, that's going to quiet that crowd down, which it definitely fucking did in the middle part of that game. But we'll end up talking about the Commanders later. We can get into Sunday, Rams, Eagles, snow game, Saquon Barkley game, I guess.
Like usual.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen, because I asked this question to our group chat, and I know it was kind of tough to ask this question because the seasons haven't been finished, but now there's only one player remaining. I said, what was a bigger impact on the team? It was CMC to the Niners, which was last year. We got to see what that looked like. It was Derrick Henry to the Ravens, and it was Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. And I asked, what was the biggest impact?
It's Saquon.
I feel like it's Saquon.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's Saquon.
I would give it CMC because I feel like the Niners became such a crazy threat with CMC, but Saquon with that whole line is just insane. Like, they're able to run it on 3rd and 8.
Best running back in the league.
Yeah,
hands down. Hands down, he is the best running back in the league. And you have him on an offense that was already running the ball well with, like, DeAndre Swift and whoever I can't remember who was before him.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, Miles Sanders. Like, you're getting Miles Sanders as a 1,000-yard rusher, like, with them and Swift, and now you're like, okay, let's add the greatest, like, running back in the league right now. Like, then this is what you get. He rushed for over 2,000 yards this season. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how the Giants ever looked at him and been like, nah, whatever. We don't.
Crazy.
So whatever.
If he, here's the thing. I see a lot of people saying something like that. Not saying it from the Giants' perspective, but Saquon doesn't have this kind of year on any other team.
No.
No.
So like it's a very specific to the Eagles kind of thing because of how good their O line is and everything else like that. But here's the thing: like everybody was quick to call CMC washed. He's always hurt. Saquon's washed. He's always hurt. Derrick Henry, the same thing. You put him by a good O line that can protect them better. Holy shit, they're not washed. Like
a fucking poverty franchise.
Like holy shit, they're not washed. Like when CMC is behind a good old line and a good play caller and Kyle Shanahan, look at him not even turn his career around, just be elite, be the same player he was, but more effective. Like same with Saquon and Derrick Henry. Even Derrick Henry was like carrying that team to playoff wins on Tennessee, but like even with the Ravens behind a good old line and a good better play calling, like you see him still have it. You see him still have it like Saquon. So I just think this Eagles team, they're a team built for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested to see how they match up with the Commanders, because now this is the third time they're playing in division.
Yeah,
and it's already been a split. And Washington's kind of played them well both times.
Oh yeah, they have.
It'll be nice.
How
good game.
And for the Rams side of things, they have a superstar in Jared Verse on defense.
Yep.
I think the Eagles got a little bit bailed out because of the snow. A little bit, because Stafford was killing that defense even with the snow. There was just a couple.
The defense turned up when it needed to.
Yeah. Quinyon Mitchell, his status is going to be huge because he's their number one corner. But Jalen Carter
should be a Bear, but we're not going to worry about it.
God, I just on that last play, the center turning the wrong way just cost you everything because they marched down the field. Like, it just sucks. And then now I'm pretty sure Stafford's going to come back.
Oh
yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not like.
I don't know what his contract looks like or how many years is left on his deal or whatever.
What's Stro? I think Stro in our chat said golf for Stafford ? Straight up right now. And I was like, hey, just resend the trade.
Redo the exact same.
Just redo the exact same trade.
I mean, as of right now, that trade's looking like a landslide for the Rams. Because you got Stafford, you got the Super Bowl, and you're still a playoff contender. Meanwhile, the Lions haven't got to the Super Bowl yet.
But is it like a landslide though? The Lions were fucking 0-16.
I think it was a landslide.
I don't think it's a landslide. You kind of like
you got a Super Bowl and you're still good enough to compete in the playoffs.
I don't think I wouldn't say a landslide.
Yeah, you got
Lions
a lot
just
of
won 15 games and 13 games last season.
Rams got Super Bowl. They don't.
I don't think it's a landslide. Yeah, they sold out for a Super Bowl.
Here, like, because this weekend really brought back up the Goff and Stafford narratives about that trade. I was like, you had Sean McVay, offensive guru, one of the top 5 coaches in the NFL. He couldn't get it done with Goff. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, that trade happened for a reason. That trade didn't just happen to happen.
They made a Super Bowl.
Like that trade happened for a reason.
They just ran into Tom Brady.
Yeah. It happened for a reason. Matthew Stafford was really good.
I just think that's how we're looking at the quarterback kind of thing. Like you have Josh Allen and Mahomes, and Lamar, and then you got Burrow over in the AFC. But it's just it's kind of like all mid kind of tier quarterbacks in the NFC, and it's just kind of like who has the best roster to get there, and it's just like. Well, fuck, the Eagles seem like it's going to be that team against the Commanders, but it's going to be an interesting matchup, like I said.
Yeah. I think the Commanders have a chance.
Yes, I do. I really do. Yeah, I think if the Commanders can get... It's going to be interesting because Jaden Daniels hasn't... the weather, I don't know what the weather is going to be looking like on Sunday for Philly, right. But like I said, if they can get the Eagles into a position to where they can't just hand the ball off,
right?
It's going to be interesting because we've seen that against the Rams. And the Rams D-line did a really, really good job for the most part. Other than the big runs late from Saquon, they did a pretty solid job throughout the start of that game when it came to holding them in check. Because the Rams were in that game till the end. And I think other than the big time runs from Saquon that really blew the game open, they did a fine job.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the game where we see like Jalen Hurts be like, okay, like this is it.
No
I'm
more
not
Mr.
saying, like,
Nice Guy.
yeah, I was like, I'm not saying he's going to like go insane, but like I could definitely see him going for like 202 touchdowns.
They're gonna. I think he's gonna
I
have.
think he has to. Yeah.
With
I
the- with
think
the
that might be
touch
it.
I don't think they're beating the Commanders just by what they did against the Rams. I just don't.
Saquon, I think you can run on anybody.
Here's my thing: they are not beating the Bills or the Chiefs with Jalen Hurts only throwing for like 110 yards. Nobody is
Definitely not the Chiefs. I'll say definitely not the Chiefs.
If they play the Chiefs, I promise you, nobody has ran on the Chiefs in the past 3 years. They are not getting killed by Saquon Barkley alone. It just won't happen.
That's the team that will actually sell out.
Yes, they will sell out and be good enough to just play
good.
one-on-one in coverage. So it's going to be interesting. I don't want to see Eagles and Chiefs matchup, but I do because I think the Chiefs would just shut down that run game and we'd have to see Jalen Hurts win the game, which is what they don't want to see happen. Like, they don't want to give it up to Jalen Hurts. They'd rather run the ball on 3rd and 8 and pick up a first down than have him throw it, obviously, is what we've seen. So it's going to be interesting. And then we can transition to the night game, Bills and Ravens. Everything we wanted to see.
Sorry, Ravens.
Great season.
Great season. You guys just don't want it enough.
Hell of a year, Lamar.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
I'm never one for bashing a player, and I heard like Dan Orlovsky's comments about it, about bashing Mark Andrews and all the people bashing Mark Andrews. No, you deserve to get bashed.
You played so bad that you played the worst game you possibly could play in your career in the like worst time. Like two really important drop passes and a fumble. Like, why would you not get bashed?
It's the one in the middle of the field, the fumble. If you look at kind of like the wide view of it, all he had to do was just run forward, and he would have had a lane to the end zone. But instead, let me run into the defender that's right next to me, try to juke him for no reason on ice, basically, and then get the ball poked out. And then I was like, okay, fuck, the whole drive killed right there. You still get a chance. You still get a chance to redeem yourself. Like, I don't know how much blame to put on Lamar for the 2 turnovers in the first half because of the sell job Mark Andrews put on in the second half.
I mean, you can't turn the ball over.
Oh, no, like I said, you can't turn the ball over in the playoffs. But the fact that they still had a chance, that they still had a chance to win, not saying, like, we could. Here's the thing. I'm hearing a lot of, they still had a chance to win. It's a lot of blame Mark Andrews, which I'm a part of. I think he deserves a lot of blame for the game. But that's not saying Josh Allen wouldn't have went and just drove the ball down and scored.
At 90 seconds, I think they had a timeout left.
Like, they would have. I assure you,
probably still lose that game.
At home in Buffalo, with everything on the line, Josh Allen is at bare minimum getting a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting that ball back. You're going to lose the game, I think, regardless if you get that 2-pointer anyways. You don't get to overtime, in my opinion. But you have to kind of play with that mindset. I don't see you holding Josh Allen at home to not getting a field goal. So it's all up for grabs of who deserves the blame. I think it has to go a big chunk to Mark Andrews and then Lamar.
Yeah, me too. If you look at how the games went, the teams who didn't turn the ball over won. So don't turn the ball over, you don't lose. Maybe they didn't. I think the Ravens also didn't punt, if I'm remembering correctly, but they didn't punt. So you were moving on them all game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't turn the ball over 3 times, then we probably score on those 3 drives, and then we don't even have to worry about all this.
It's just like it's the situations, and like the pick was just like, Lamar, what are you doing?
Worst throw of the year.
And then the dropped, so you had to reach up, get the snap on ice, basically. Then you had to pick it up, and then you try to switch hands, which led to him losing the ball. Then I'm like, wow. Like, you could have just went down. Like, you could have just went down and just ate the negative yardage. Like, that's why I don't understand. You know the situations. You know the ball's slick. You know the ground is not going to be able to let you go out and just make all these kind of cuts and plays like you usually would. Just go down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying about Mark Andrews. Like, he caught the ball in the middle of the field, great completion to extend the drive. Just go down. Just go down. Like, if you're not going to be able to actually make a play in the open field, just go down.
Just protect the ball. Like just hold on to the ball. Like, yeah. That's what it comes down to. You can't turn the ball over. Bills didn't. They win the game.
Yeah, and for the Ravens side of things, it's just like at some point, like now you're looking at the next year's AFC, like you're gonna have the Chiefs. I expect the Bills to be better. Like the Bengals are probably gonna be better. Like you're gonna have the Steelers be the same Steelers. Like the Texans are probably gonna be better. The Chargers are gonna be better. Like everybody in the AFC is gonna continuously get better. So it's just like the Ravens can continue to have really good regular seasons. It's kind of like the Steelers. It's legit kind of like the Steelers. Like the Steelers, great regular season team, can't perform in the playoffs. That's kind of the narrative with the Ravens, but people don't word it that way. Like look at Lamar's 3 playoff wins, right? It is against CJ Stroud, rookie CJ Stroud last year. This year's Steelers with Russell Wilson, and he had one more. I want to say it was against. I wish I had it in front of me because it was a year or two ago.
Was it against the Chargers?
Yeah, it was against the Chargers. I want to say.
Because I remember, I swear to God, the Chargers and the Ravens played each other once. Like in the wild card.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right about the Chargers one. So if you're saying
Titans. Oh,
Titans.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
In 21.
So Tannehill.
Yep.
Yeah.
So your playoff wins are against Ryan Tannehill, rookie CJ Stroud, and old Russell Wilson are your 3 playoff wins. Because you're 3-5 in the playoffs. So those are your 3 big time playoff wins.
He actually played terrible in that Titans game too.
I just think like
defense carried.
With how Derrick Henry did end up getting going in the second half of that game, for him and Justice Hill, who also had it going to only have like 22, 23 carries throughout the entire game, then you're sitting here like, what the fuck did we bring Derrick Henry here for? Like, I'd rather see you guys use him like they use fucking Saquon. 3rd and 5, we're giving it to Derrick Henry. Like, or like I just don't understand.
Again, it should be like an RPO every single. It should be either Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson.
I feel like they just completely went away from all of that. They completely went away from all of that. Everything that they worked for them in the regular season, I feel like they just said, all right, fuck, we're just going to change the way we play.
Like, I get it. You're missing Zay Flowers, too. Like, that's tough. Like, Bateman been balling.
Bateman's the number 1.
You've been balling.
I don't want to hear nothing about you didn't have Zay Flowers because you had a Hall of Fame tight end in Mark Andrews pretty much. You had
that wasn't
Bateman.
Mark Andrews.
That
was fake Mark Andrews.
Fake
Mark Andrews. Not him.
God,
I can't believe it.
But this kind of like whole divisional round came to the team that didn't turn the ball over, won the game, and that was pretty much it for the whole.
Goddamn, Mark Andrews catch that ball.
Yeah. Now we're going into championship weekend. We can start out with Commanders and Eagles. It's gonna be a very interesting matchup in the division.
Very. In Philly, I'm still on the Eagles.
I'm going to go the Eagles too, but it's going to have to come down to Jalen Hurts throwing the ball at some point. I think they're too familiar with this team to just let Saquon Barkley just kill them, which still can happen. It's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they're going to make Jalen Hurts have to make some plays. And if he's able to make those plays, I think they win.
I think this game is either going to be like not dominated, but like the Commanders are going to be doing the pace of the game, like it's going to be their type of game, or they're going to get absolutely stopped because they're going to go for like those 4th downs, and it's either going to work and they're going to keep scoring on you, and like Eagles down 10, and like you said, we're going to force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, or like they're going to go for it in that first drive, all of a sudden miss it, Saquon 50-yard run, and they're down like 14 already. I think that's how it's going to go because like we saw in that game versus the Lions, they're going to be super aggressive.
Oh yeah,
they don't care.
It's also going to be
said, like they have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
fuck it.
it's going to be crazy because with the Lions, when they did blitz, they were sending 5, 6. The Eagles can blitz with damn near get pressure with just 4. Like, with
That
how
D
good
line-
that D-line
I
is.
mean, Jaden didn't get sacked though, did he?
No, I don't think in the Lions.
Probably not.
Not in the Lions game, no.
It's pretty hard to get sacked when Aiden Hutchinson's not on that line.
It's gonna be interesting. I kind of agree with you, Nick. I feel like it's either like the Commanders come out, score early, like on their first drive, then you're like, okay, we got possible shootout in the works, depending on how they attack that Eagles defense, or it's just gonna be like all it takes is one slip up, and then you're down 14, and then they can legit just hand the ball off the rest of the game. Like it's really that's kind of I'm gonna know what kind of game it is by like the first 2 drives by each team.
Yeah.
If Washington does make that mistake, which they've been mistake free pretty much this entire playoffs, other than like a couple failed for 4th downs, like they've been mistake free. So like if they make a mistake early, I just know from watching the Eagles over the past couple of years, like the Eagles are going to milk that clock as much as they can every quarter, every drive. It's just going to be hard. It's going to be an interesting game for the first 2 drives, and it's going to be very telling. But I'm going to have to lean the Eagles a little bit for sure. I think their roster is just more talented, and unless Washington and Jane Daniels has another mistake-free game against a really, really much better defense, I mean, if he lights up Philly's defense, I mean, we really got to talk. He goes into Philly, kills them. Some talks are going to be had for sure.
Like, same thing with Stroud. Just high expectations. That's the only problem with doing so good your rookie year.
Oh yeah, the expectations are going to be through the roof.
Next year they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Commanders Super Bowl. If they lose, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Commanders will probably be in the Super Bowl next year. When that's just not really how it works.
It's not in the NFL. It's gonna like comparing it to Stroud. I just feel like even the level Stroud was on last year,
I'm saying
Jane Daniels eclipsed that.
Wise, not team wise. Because obviously the Texans didn't make it this far.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna lean the Eagles though.
Yeah,
and we can hop on Bills and Chiefs side of things.
I mean, I'm just gonna take the Chiefs till it's not. And I'm only gonna say that because the Ravens are out. And otherwise, I'd have taken the Ravens because I had Eagles-Ravens. And I thought the Ravens could be the better matchup. The Bills scare me, man. I don't get it. I don't know what it is about the Bills, but they scare me. Like, that they just can't do it. Like, but then Lamar, like, doesn't even get the chance to
could potentially see, like, their offense just completely shutting down in this game.
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's what happens every year. For
like
some
just
reason.
Not being able to do anything.
Somehow, they're going to go into Kansas City and just forget how to play football. This is exactly what's going to happen. I'm talking -4 yards after the first quarter. Like, forgetting how to play football.
I'm not going to say all that because I'm not saying. I would have more of the case to say that with Lamar if the Ravens played. Because here's the thing. In every matchup, you can say that Kansas City has won because they have. But, like, Josh Allen has not been the reason they've lost any of their games against Kansas City in the playoffs. Josh Allen answers the call. Josh Allen always hoops when it matters against Kansas City for the most part. Like, he's always hooped. So, like, I think that argument you just said, I feel like would be in play if the Ravens won. I could see the Ravens because I saw it last year.
I only say that because they have Derrick Henry and, like, you have something to lean on. Like Josh Allen is what you lean on.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like Josh Allen is gonna
respect to James Cook though. James Cook. Oh, hey now.
Respect. But like, brother, you ain't rushing for
respect to James Cook, but he's gonna have like 6 rushing attempts.
He's gonna have terrible fucking margins. And
he will not be.
Everything he does is gonna be wrong. By the way, I think Josh Allen is gonna have 10 to 15 rushing attempts, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, this is on you." He's gonna have a rushing touchdown. And he's like every third down, it's going to be Josh Allen to run for it. Like, because he will not let them punt. And like, they're going to have to put up a spy. And that D line for the Chiefs is nothing to fuck around. Like, I know how bad the Texans' O line is, but like, George Karlaftis and Chris Jones, like, these guys are going to get to the fucking quarterback. So I need to see some fucking football from the Bills. I need to see some real football. And take these motherfuckers down. But it's just not going to
I
happen.
think this is the Super Bowl right here. Like, respect to the Commanders and Eagles, I think that whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl.
Somehow, Travis Kelce is going to have 200 fucking yards.
Slow
and we'll
ass.
be like, yep, there he is.
God.
I mean, I'm in a no-lose situation. I've been taking the Bills all playoffs, but in our preseason, I'm looking at it right now. I have it on my computer. I took the Chiefs over the Eagles.
Wow.
So I'm picking the Commanders and the Bills.
What did I have?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I wrote it down myself for like my
Probably
personal
had some
predictions,
bullshit.
which, by the way, had the Vikings with 3 wins.
We're back.
But yeah, I'm going to take the Bills, man.
I'm also been on the Bills all playoffs. Give me Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to capitalize off a rare KC mistake in this game, and they're going to take advantage of it for once. I think for once in these past couple years, we see Kansas City make the mistake. I don't know what the mistake's going to be. They're going to make a mistake some point in the second half, and the Bills are going to capitalize and be more controlling the game than KC would want. And I think they walk it off.
I
think they walk
it
off.
I will have an undisclosed amount of money on the Chiefs. And if I lose that money, we just live with it.
I think it's going to be one of the last drives of the game. The Bills got to go get in the field goal range. And Josh Allen just hits this crazy scramble for like 15 to get Bass in the field goal range, and they walk it off. And they go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the Bills. Been on them all playoffs. Really been on it all year. Think it's going to be crazy now that Josh Allen gets all the way to the Super Bowl and they're going to give Lamar the MVP. So now the MVP is going to really be worthless to Lamar because he's at home. So it's going to be interesting.
He really has like 3 MVPs for nothing.
I've been seeing a lot of Manning
Aaron
comparisons.
Rodgers has like fucking 4, and he only has 1 ring.
Yeah.
So
he's about to be in Aaron Rodgers territory.
Does he get one
Manning.
eventually?
Yeah, he will win one
eventually.
I saw this fucking YouTube video today. Can Lamar ever win a Super Bowl?
He is 28 years old.
Tom Brady won one at 45.
Yeah, but that's the GOAT.
That is the GOAT. You're right.
I think eventually he'll get over the hump.
When does
he will? The year that Patrick Mahomes is hurt.
When Patrick Mahomes phantom tears ACL.
Yeah, in like 2029, some bullshit.
Oh my God. There will be parties in the streets.
Wow. Not from us, of course.
Not from us, of course. We're an unbiased podcast.
Love Patrick Mahomes.
Love them. Hate them.
It's really like it was last year going into this game all week. I'm already starting to see it. Josh Allen, please save us. Save us, Josh Allen. Please save us. Like it was Lamar last year.
Already.
So it's just gonna be a game of the year. Bills and Chiefs always put on a classic every time they play. So it's gonna be interesting. But we can get into some of the hirings and everything else that we've gone into. We can start out with Ben Johnson.
We did it.
Connor, you can go ahead.
We did it.
What are your thoughts with this hiring?
That's awesome. I got the guy. We got the guy we wanted. Like now, if he fucks up, we're just like, well, fuck. We're cursed. It is what it is. You got the guy you wanted. I mean, he's gonna come in. I think he's gonna establish a culture right away, and I think he's gonna bring something that we've never had. A change in our system. Our scheme is gonna change. I think everybody's gonna actually buy in now, and not fucking like think about all the bullshit and everything, and be like, hey, this is just another year. Like, no, I think everybody's ready to buy in. I think you're getting Caleb with a whole rookie season under his belt. You still have the draft to go. I mean, we're only looking better, and he, as of right now, he's supposed to be bringing in Dennis Allen, and if we can get Dennis Allen as our defensive coordinator, like you got to be looking at us having probably one of the best staffs in football
for once.
Like for once ever, like it's insane to have someone of his, because obviously he's going to be the OC and head coach. He's going to be calling the plays. But then for that defense, because that defense looked very unamusing last year, I'll say that. But it did suck when you're on the field for 75% of the fucking game. But yeah, I think the offense is just going to change. I think we're going to be so much more air raid offense. We're going to be throwing the ball, I think, a lot more. We're going to be using DeAndre Swift in the passing game a lot more. Obviously, the thing right now is, are we going to bring back Keenan Allen? I think that's the caveat right now. He said he's either coming back to Chicago or he's going back to LA. So he said that those are the only two options.
Me personally, if I was
he's
him,
like unrestricted, right?
Me personally, I'd come back after signing. I would come back. Now, obviously, if he's asking for like fuck you money, then like we'll let him walk. Like we're not going crazy, bro. Like I'm not signing you to a bag. It's just not gonna happen.
I think it's all gonna come down to the adjustments on the O-line, because here's the thing. Everybody's like, and I like the hire.
We have cap space.
Like,
we still have a lot of cap space to get O-linemen, like, if we really wanted to.
That's what I'm saying. It's just Ben Johnson, great OC, phenomenal offensive mind, but you're coming from a Lions team where you legit had the perfect player at the perfect positions for you, and that O-line was top 3 in the league. Now you're going to an O-line that's bottom 5 in the league. So like you're gonna have to make the adjustments, and I think he will. I'm not saying he won't. I'm not up here saying that I hope Ben Johnson fails, but I'm just saying like that O-line has to be addressed. I don't care if you don't do anything this offseason, but address the O-line, because that's going to be the only thing that holds this offense up.
I've seen us so basically taking best available in we had the 10th pick or something, or 11th pick.
Just tackle out of LSU.
I saw edge rusher at 10. Which I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I could take an edge rusher. We need another guy to pair. Like, we need like a dominant guy to pair with Montez Sweat. Because Montez Sweat is the only pass rush we really have. And then we lost our nose tackle for the year. And he was out. And he's coming back. He's like he's our second best rusher. If you can have another guy on the other side, that'll be awesome. And then you have 2 second-round picks. I think that's where you attack the O-line. You got back, because we still have the Panthers pick. So, like, I would go guard tackle, or like fucking tackle guard, like either or, doesn't matter. And then they said, I think Kevin Zeitler is a free agent, and that was one of the guys they had the Bears going after, which I'd be cool with. He's an interior guy. Our interior line is so shit.
Zeitler good.
It's so bad. Darnell Wright is fine. He'll be our right tackle probably for a while. It's just Braxton Jones on the left side is a little sus. So it's going to be weird if they even attack tackles. I could definitely see them just attacking the interior.
Yeah.
It's like our center. How could your fucking center be bad? How is that even possible? No, we picked it. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's going to come down to, especially this first year with him, because I can already see a world now where like your guys' schedule comes out. And like, say you guys have a semi-hard, like tough 2 first games.
We're gonna have a mid. They already have the like teams we play.
Yeah.
And stuff, but like, I don't remember what division we play. I can't remember what it is.
We play
from the AFC.
I want to say, because we play the Chargers. I know we play the Chargers.
I don't know if we play.
We might play. No. We play God.
Because we just played the South this year. So do we play the
Steelers, Ravens?
Yeah, I was gonna say
we're in that division now.
Okay.
Because the year before we were in with KC and Chargers. So I remember Vikings perspective, we played them 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember the Bears losing 52-7 to the Steelers.
So
not the Steelers, the Chiefs.
So yeah, so they're gonna have a tough first 2 games, and here's the thing.
Wow.
What's up?
No, y'all got a rough schedule.
Thanks.
The Bears?
Yeah.
It's not even that bad.
Y'all play the AFC North.
Yeah, we just said that.
Oh, you did? Oh, shit. Sorry, I was looking it up. That shit does not look easy.
I could see, because it's just Chicago. Chicago, like, they run good shit going on out of town because it's not perfect. So I think we need to be patient with this. I think we need to still, like, second year Caleb, we don't need to, like, have Super Bowl expectations, Chicago Bears fans. We need to still be like, we just need to develop and just get better as a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just don't want to go into the year all of a sudden, oh shit, like, we have Ben Johnson now, we should be a playoff contender, Super Bowl contender. I'm like, let's just worry about week 1 and week 2 and week 3, because I can see y'all starting out y'all can start out 1 and 2, and I could be like, see all the media being like, is Caleb a bust? Like, is this and that? Like,
I already see
can
the text from
That
Rudy.
was the huge thing about what Stroh was saying, like signing Mike McCarthy. That's why he's saying like you go get someone like Mike McCarthy and you kind of establish like
a standard, a new standard,
like a standard,
a floor,
like how many,
like,
a floor, like do what you need. But now, it's Bears. Bears Twitter is
I can see them going a little bit too hard when you guys should just be worried about just pure development. Like you got to remember, you're probably still regular season wise, of course, regular season wise, not playoff wise. You're still probably in the toughest division in football. The Lions might take a step back because they're losing both coordinators, but I still think they're going to have enough to still be good. Like, I see the Packers and Vikings, they're still super, super well-ran franchises. I feel like they're still going to be middle of the pack, really good teams in the NFC. Like it's going to be tough. It's going to be a gamble for sure. I feel like Ben Johnson is higher ceiling, more risk compared to like somebody like we talked about McCarthy, who's kind of like lower risk, but you kind of know what you're getting. It could be a boom or bust thing with Ben Johnson, but it all comes down to like repairing that O-line and really getting the best out of Caleb Williams, which I think he can do. I just think the expectations, now that you did get your guy and things are looking up for Chicago, they always get crazy.
Caleb Williams has got to be the number one reason why Ben Johnson needs to be considered to come to the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it had to have been. Like, you look at, he saw what Caleb balled out in both games against the Lions. So he got to see firsthand how Caleb like plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely went into like the contract and everything.
Yeah. And then another hire today was Aaron Glen to the Jets. What are your thoughts about that, honestly?
I didn't think the Lions were going to lose both coordinators. I thought if one stayed, it was going to be Aaron Glen. And, I mean...
This is turning into a lot like how the Eagles were 2 years ago, where they lost both coordinators and they kind of took a step back a little bit.
I don't want to say that it's like a bad signing, but like, is it gonna move the needle is what I'm like thinking. Like,
because we already saw them try to do like the culture defensive guy with Robert Saleh, and that just didn't work.
And you guys ran him out of town when it was never his fault.
I hate it more for Aaron Glenn. I wish he just didn't take this job.
I would rather saw him in Jacksonville.
Yeah, we've understood why people don't want to go to Jacksonville though.
Yeah,
that owner is shit.
Yeah, so it's
the Jets owner is shit too. So I guess
it sucks because I was a fan of Robert Saleh for real. Like I still think he's a good coach with how good that defense was. Not this past year, because I feel like at this point it was the end of that era, especially when he got fired. I feel like that defense, the moment he got fired, balled out completely. But those 2 years prior to this one, like that defense was top 4, 5 in the league, no doubt. Like they were stacked, and it all came down to the quarterback play. A bad quarterback situation can run a coach out of town so fast in the NFL, and that's what happened to Robert Saleh. Like then you bring in Aaron Rodgers, all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles on opening day. Like all of a sudden, oh shit, now we're running with Zach Wilson all year. Zach Wilson last year, and then it's like I really do think franchises are cursed. So you mean to tell me you get Aaron Rodgers, you're like, finally we have our quarterback, and Zach Wilson is just performing better than Aaron Rodgers now? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. And then Robert Saleh gets fired because Aaron Rodgers don't like him, and then it's just this whole thing. I'm like, well, it's all going to be fun and games when Robert Saleh is the DC at the 49ers, and their defense is going to be elite, and he's just going to be in a better spot, and then he's going to get another coaching job somewhere down the line probably. So it's just, I think it's like you said, Nick, kind of like a lateral move. I don't think the Jets got like super, super better coaching wise, because I just think him and Saleh are kind of like the same kind of coach in a way. So it's just going to be very interesting. And now it comes down to like a lot of those players I feel like are going to be leaving. They have a lot of free agents on that defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like he's going into a situation where like it sucks because you never know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. You have talent on your offense, but I feel like Garrett Wilson's going to request a trade at some point this offseason. And then your defense is going to take a step back because you got a lot of free agents, and you kind of are in like a mini rebuild, but like it's so weird.
They still want to compete.
Yes,
so that's why I don't like it for him. I think it's
I think the
He could
Raiders
just be
job would
next
have been
up.
a little bit better. I think the
Oh,
Raiders
it would
job
have
at
been.
least has a little bit more of like, now you're kind of going into a situation where it's like a fresh slate. You have like Brock Bowers, you have pieces on your defense already and like in place, kind of like how the Chargers were, even though the Chargers had Herbert. But you go in like with a fresh slate like Harbaugh did. Like you said, you had Herbert, but like you had a couple weapons on offense, you had a couple weapons on defense to where you could work with. Like the Jets just isn't a fresh slate for a new coach coming in. It's kind of like we're gonna give you all of our shit,
You got
make it work in 2 years kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That's how the NFL is with
Yeah,
coaches.
you have 2 years, or else you're going to be on the hot seat.
So what are the remaining jobs left? So it's Dallas, Jags, Raiders, and the Saints. So those are the 4. The Saints. From my knowledge, I don't think the Saints have signed anybody.
I don't remember.
I thought Aaron Glen was going to the Saints. I thought that was like gonna happen a couple weeks ago because that was the main rumor. So you have, I don't know if Dallas interviewed Aaron Glen. I would have rather had that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard that we did, but we could have.
I have no idea what Dallas is doing because they hoed Mike McCarthy and by not letting him interview with the Bears and then fired him a couple days later anyways. Like, we can kind of hop into that. What's your perspective, Nick, right now on Dallas? Like, are you in on the Dion? Are you in on that whole sweepstakes kind of thing? Or like, where's your mind at right now?
I'm not in on the Dion shit. I don't know. I don't really give a fuck who we hire. Because I think it starts with Jerry Jones, but I saw today that we had like a 4-hour interview with some Brian Schottenheimer or some bullshit.
I also saw that.
So whoever that is, it looks like it might be him.
How do you feel about Kellen Moore? Because we also have Dallas friends in a group chat.
I would hate that.
That offense was elite when Kellen Moore was there.
For sure. But then it wasn't.
Probably got the best out of Dak Prescott.
I get it. And then he got the plays taken away from him. So I don't know. Like,
where did he go? He went to.
He's in
there
Philly.
to LA. No, he went from
not KC. LA.
He went.
Dallas,
LA, Philly.
Oh my god, he was in LA. And he got fired with what's his face?
Staley.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh my god, Staley.
I would hate it. I think that would be the most Jerry Jones, like Cowboys fans would hate that the most, just because he also came from here. No.
I think it would be dumb.
I would like Robert Saleh. I think that would be cool, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying he's a good coach. I think that's like more of like a culture. Again, just a culture thing that we need. Like, I don't need this random fucking Brian Schottenheimer white dude who's just going to come in. That
just seems like that, and the Kellen Moore hire just seems like, oh, Jerry Jones just wants full control. I can see Robert Saleh stepping in the door and building up a new culture. And like, Robert Saleh would have that defense up to par. I have no doubt about that. He would have that defense looking top 5, top 6 caliber. Because like, that's the thing with the Cowboys. It's like, you should just go for a more defensive minded guy, because like, when you're looking at your offense, you could get a talented OC because you have a quarterback. It's not like you don't have a quarterback and need an offensive mind to elevate a young quarterback, kind of like the Bears. Like, looking at the Cowboys, you have a established quarterback in Dak. You have a number 1 receiver in CD. All you need to do is add a run game. You have a solid O-line. You just need to add a run game and a number 2.
Zeke. Oh wait, no, he's on the Chargers now. Oh, never mind.
But like, you add a run game. You bring in a number 2, and your offense is going to be fine. It's that defense that really killed you guys these past, like, in the playoffs. So, like, the Saleh hire is actually, I didn't even think about that one. That's a good idea, honestly. I would like Saleh.
But I don't even remember the other people that I saw we interviewed.
Well, the Bears interviewed 50 people.
Yeah, they did.
Interviewed 50
for
people.
No reason.
Just hire the first guy.
But, yeah, it'll end up being some random fucking yes man.
So probably. We'll see. Another thing that we didn't end up getting to, this kind of like in the past now, that we didn't get to last episode, was Vrabel to the Patriots, which I love.
Makes the most sense.
Love that.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's just fuck them for what they did to Mayo.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what like franchises expect these coaches to do. You give them a roster post Belichick, post Brady, all this shit. This is just say, here, kind of like what they did with Antonio Pierce. Here's all this shit. If you don't make it work, you're just gonna get canned anyways. So like, it doesn't matter. And like the Raiders situation, and kind of like the Patriots situation kind of in the same boat. I know the Patriots have their quarterback in Drake May now, but like they were kind of in the situation where it's like we're kind of out of this era. Here's all this shit, try to make it work, and it's just like sucks. But I do like the Vrabel hire.
Yeah.
And I think Antonio Pierce, kind of like Mayo, would actually something that was in the works. Just because I'm on Vikings Twitter, apparently that when we possibly could have lost Flores, it's looking like he's staying now. He's going to be one of the highest paid like DCs in the league. The replacement option was a lot of talks was going to be around Mayo for the DC job in Minnesota, which I was like, you bring in an established guy. That's all I want. Like, if you're going to lose Flores, bring in somebody established that's been there before.
Yeah.
Like, don't all of a sudden like put your defense in harm's way by hiring some risky position when you have a good defense, you have good players on the defense. To go get, if you were going to lose Flores, please go get somebody just as established. And Mayo has a coordinator. So now that we're keeping Flores, I'm sure somebody's going to look at Mayo and be like, he could be our DC. Like, same with kind of Antonio Pierce. Like, these guys that are floating around are going to get jobs. But the Jags job, like, that looks like one of the more, if we talked a couple weeks ago, middle of the season, when we talked about firing Doug Peterson, that was like, oh, you have T-Law, you have some weapons, like you have some foundation, like,
oof.
Like now, like nobody wants that job. Like, you're taking the Raiders over the Jacksonville job at this point. Like, it's crazy. And the Saints job. Like, is the Saints job better than the Jacksonville job?
That I'd say no.
Saints is rough.
Just because the salary cap hell that they're in.
Yeah, the salary cap.
But it's down there.
Is that even on the head coach? That's more the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that you're not going to be able to do as much.
It's going to be interesting because now we're in that realm where it's like every Monday, Tuesday, whereas main NFL news drops after the previous week. New information and new head coaching hirings and everything else drops. So it's going to be interesting. We'll keep up to date on it for sure. But we have championship weekend this weekend. We'll be back next week with the results of that and more information when it comes out about the NFL. But you guys want to wrap it up there?
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope you tune in the future episodes.
Yes, sir.